Hello and welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Ankita Mukherjee. The RSS imparts lessons in governance and nation building to BJP MPs at an event today. Is the RSS increasingly calling the shots, and has the recent Hindu rhetoric overshadowed Modi's inclusive pre-election pitch? Also, the Chief Justice of India and two other judges toss out a petition against Amir Khan's provocative PK poster saying, "Don't watch the film if you don't like it." As a nation, are we far too squeamish? That discussion coming up later on in the show. But first, our top focus tonight, from Sarva Dharm Sabka Saath, which was the BJP's election mantra, to now a BJP MP, Yogi Adityanath, saying in Parliament Hindus have to organize themselves if threatened, from the RSS message to the BJP that their victory was not a one-man show, to today lecturing MPs on governance and nation building. We ask tonight, is the RSS influence now growing? Is the latest Hindu rhetoric now overshadowing Narendra Modi's inclusive, development-oriented pitch?
Nearly all BJP MPs in the RSS dress code, white kurtas and black caps, arriving at Venkaiah Naidu's house in Delhi for a Rakshabandan event. They also heard RSS number 2 Bhaiyaji Joshi's lecture on nation building and democracy.
हम स्वयंसेवक के नाते सभी स्वयंसेवक यहाँ उपस्थित थे कि सार्वजनिक हित के लिए काम करेंगे, देश के लिए काम करेंगे।
स्वयंसेवक के रूप में किस प्रकार से समाज में जीते हैं, उसी का एक विश्लेषण।
राजनीतिक क्षेत्र में और राजनीति के बाहर के क्षेत्र में रहकर हम सब लोग देश के हित के लिए काम कर रहे हैं।
While the BJP clarified that the event was a routine,
कोई ऐसा कोई राजनीतिक विषय नहीं तो कोई सरकार के संदर्भ में, कोई पॉलिटिक्स के संदर्भ में कुछ चर्चा हुआ नहीं।
This year's Rakshabandan event seemed to be special, with even leaders like RK Singh and VK Singh not seen as hardcore RSS supporters attending the lecture. Clearly, the RSS is making sure there is better coordination among the party, government and Sangh to avoid the acrimony that marked NDA's previous term under Vajpayee. After being credited, at least partly, for the NDA's massive victory in the elections, the organisation is making sure its impact and influence continues, and this has been more than evident in the past few days. With no attempt having been made by the government to distance itself from them or to censure those voicing such sentiments. NDTV Bureau Report.
Well, joining us on our discussion tonight, Sambit Patra, spokesperson for the BJP, Rashmikant, spokesperson for the Congress, Ashok Malik, Akar Patel and Anil Tharkar, writers and columnists, all three of them also joining us. But let me begin straight away, Akar, maybe with you. How do you view today's developments, especially in the light of the sort of recent rhetoric we've heard?
I don't think the RSS is as important as it is made out to be. I think it needs Mr. Modi much more than Mr. Modi needs the RSS. I think the influence of Modi today on the cadre of the RSS is far more than that of the RSS on the government in India. It is true that the RSS comes in many flavors, just like Baskin Robbins. If you want a slightly deeper shade of saffron, you've got Praveen Bhai Togadia and you've got Babu Bajrangi. If you want RSS light, you've got the BJP, you've got the Durga Vahini and the other groups in the middle. The BJP, I think, takes its cues from the RSS only partly. Mr. Modi has a Gujarati aspect to him, which shows in the way that he governs, which shows in the way that he approaches business, which is not very RSS-like. If you look at the RSS's views on Swadeshi, Mr. Modi doesn't cleave to any of those views. Today, I think Mr. Modi has popularized the views of the RSS to a large extent on the softer side democratically. I don't think the RSS is as influential in the government as it is made out to be.
Anil Tharkar, would you agree with that? We had the RSS second in command lecturing BJP MPs today on governance and nation building. How do you see that?
Well, I think I will begin by saying that we should all be grateful that they were not, everyone was not asked to wear chaddis.
But they were,
because
well, you know,
I think that would have been the ultimate.
Yes,
seriously, you know, what is happening, it's not just this one day where they had this kind of a seminar. But what has been happening in the last 100 days, we are now coming to about 100 days of the BJP government. And suddenly, though the government itself or the PM himself have not said anything at all to further the Hindutva plank, they have not said anything against it either. And the result is that all over the country, you're suddenly getting these mushrooming of these statements coming from different quarters, who now feel that, look, it's our government which is in power, it is our man, the RSS man, who's the Prime Minister, and suddenly everything that we wanted to do is possible. We have seen so many eruptions of this, and I think the most disturbing is the great writer who has been rewriting Indian history, whose books are now a part of the Gujarat curriculum. So they are now attacking at the most vulnerable level, which is education. They're going to parliament. So basically there's an attack on at every level. And I can see this escalating. And I think we're losing the debate, because Modi's campaign, after all, was what? It was based on modernism of a kind. When he talked of inclusive growth, of development, it was a kind of a modernism that India was looking forward to. When the RSS comes into the picture, and you see all these Swayamsevaks dressed in the uniforms, etc.
Okay.
You're looking at a very, very backward India.
Okay, let me just take that.
And that backward India, that agenda is now big thrust on us, I think.
Okay, I'd like to take this across to the political voices on our panel eventually, but Ashok Malik, you've written a blog where you say to accuse the RSS of quote-unquote revealing its fangs just because Narendra Modi won an election is unfair. Would you like to expand on that?
No, that was in the context of Mohan Bhagwat's statement about the essential Hinduness of India. I said the RSS has believed that for the past 88 years. So to suddenly say it is only revealing its, within double quotes, revealing its fangs because Modi's come to power. It said the same thing when Modi was not in power, when the BJP was nowhere close to being in power, when the BJP had 2 seats. So it's been saying this, so it's not something new. That is part of the RSS worldview. You may like it, you may not like it, but it's been consistent with that. I think the RSS is a stakeholder in the BJP. It's not the only stakeholder, there are other stakeholders as well. There are non-RSS streams within the BJP because it's a large political party, but the RSS is an important stakeholder. Without help from the RSS, the BJP would not have won, at least in UP, in the manner in which it did.
And are we seeing subtle reminders of that from time to time? Whether it's the RSS chief himself saying, this is not a one-man victory or a one-man show.
See, there are 2 things here. One, the RSS has this obsession, fetish, belief, call it what you will, that the institution is larger than the individual. This is a never-ending debate. It's true for other parties and other institutions as well. And Mohan Bhagwat has re-emphasized that. Some may agree, some may disagree, but he's re-emphasized it. Second, I think both the RSS and the BJP are trying their utmost to avoid some of the differences which cropped up between 98 and 2004, when the party and the Sangh did not see eye to eye, and that told of the government. So they are attempting to, and I think that's from their point of view, it's welcome, to resort to some degree of coordination this time.
But when coordination, for instance, takes the form of, say, 2 senior, and I'll address this to the BJP, Samit Patra, when you see 2 senior members of the RSS now deputed to see or oversee the day-to-day functioning of the BJP, can you still argue that this is just the ideological mentor of the party and not someone who is, in effect, as the charge seems to be, remote controlling it?
Yeah, Ankita, umpteen number of times, not just people from the RSS, but the people from Bharatiya Janata Party have categorically mentioned that RSS does not actively involve itself in the day-to-day activities, political activities of Bharatiya Janata Party. Umpteen number of times, and I believe I should not be repeating the same thing over here. But when 2 people are deputed to the Bharatiya Janata Party, it means that they would no more be the functionaries of RSS, they would be in fact within the ambits and the functions of Bharatiya Janata Party. There is nothing wrong. People can come from any walk of life and can join the party, just as people come from NGOs and join the party, ordinary men join the parties. Similarly, there is nothing wrong if functionaries of RSS come and join the political party and start functioning, but they would not be functioning actively in the RSS thereafter. This is important. Secondly, and most importantly, I see, if you ask me time, and I know the questions that will be coming to me is, is the RSS directly interfering into activities? And you would probably at some point of time, if not you, I would say some panelists at some point of time would bring the similarity between 10 Janpath and RSS, saying that look, you have some kind of infiltration by the RSS. I would say, look, at the outset, let me stage the set right. I mean, RSS is the compass and we are the sailors. Bharatiya Janata Party is the ship, the compass of which is RSS, in the sense that it is the ideological body of our political lineage. The compass directs and guides. It is for the ship to follow or not to follow.
Okay, we've heard you, I think, use that precise simile earlier in the past as well. But Rashmikant, at the end of the day, are we hearing less about the development plank that had been Mr. Modi's biggest election plank, and much more about sort of ideals of Hindu nationalism, if you choose to call it that, the idea of, you know, what makes a Hindu, whether all Indians are Hindus. Those are the kind of comments we've heard repeatedly.
Well, you know, this is not surprising to us at all, and you must remember that 70% of the members of parliament chosen who have been elected on the BJP platform have an RSS background. They have very limited knowledge of economics, of development, of international diplomacy, and so on and so forth, as you can see on the floor of the parliament. So, Mr. Modi did certainly contest the elections on the plank of development. Now, as far as these two goes, the economic agenda and the social agenda, that is where the conflict is going to arise, that Mr. Modi has a certain economic agenda and he'll have to give in much more to the social agenda of the RSS. That is going to be the fundamental area. You talked about 1998, and this is happening today also when you talk about the Factories Act in Rajasthan, when you're talking about other bills, you're talking about the insurance bill, you're talking about the defense and the railway bill. The various organizations belonging to the Sangh Parivar are opposing what Mr. Modi is attempting to do.
So you see it in a sense as an ideological conflict almost?
It is absolutely an ideological conflict at one level. The ideological conflict is there. Now, where I would differ with Ashok is that RSS is not a stakeholder in BJP. It is BJP which is a stakeholder in RSS. BJP is a small part of RSS. RSS is 70 organizations. BJP is the frontal electoral face of RSS, the mukhota of RSS in terms of elections. That is it. It is all guided totally 100%. That is why, did you see when before Mr. Modi had to be declared as the prime ministerial candidate by the BJP, there were frantic calls being made by the then BJP president, Mr. Rajnath Singh, to Nagpur before taking the consent that even if Mr. Advani does not come, go ahead and announce Mr. Modi's name as the Prime Minister. It was only after that that Mr. Modi
believe.
Yes.
First and foremost, I'm amused to see that the congressmen know more about who was giving a call to whom, and that
well, this was all in the news all over. This is not me. This is all over the news.
No, you should not run by news. There are a number of things about news in Congress which I'm not quoting, but that's not the way we should debate. So you are please let's not interfere. Let's not interfere each other. And I take objection to what you said, that 70% of Bharatiya Janata Party member of parliaments have no knowledge about economy, about how to run in the parliament. And I believe the most knowledgeable Prime Minister of this country and the Finance Minister of this country have taken the country to where you have seen. And that's the reason as to why you have been doomed. So I believe we should not denigrate the level of the debate where we say that 70% of India's member of parliament are not educated. This is
not 70% of India's members of parliament. I'm talking about BJP.
Remember, if that almost translates into 40% of India's member of parliament. You are on the eve of Independence Day denigrating the country at large, remember.
We are not denigrating the country at all. We are only making a statement of fact. You don't want to
say... This is not the statement of fact,
sir. Don't let this become a political brawl. Ashok, you had a point to make. And Anadharkar, I'll just come to you.
I remember a conversation I had with a very, very senior RSS functionary many years ago, where we discussed economic issues and, the Swadeshi Jagran Manch and so on and so forth. And he said one thing. He said, look, the RSS was essentially founded on the idea of Hindu identity, and its Hindu identity being the bedrock of Indian nationhood. That is what the RSS believes. He said, to be honest, economic issues are not our primary concern. So within the RSS, you have various streams of thought. You have people who actually are skeptical of big business. You have people who are actually supportive of big business. If you look at the recent example, which somebody quoted recently, or maybe when the program started, on GM Foods, where sections of the RSS or some frontal organizations of the RSS did protest. But frankly, they were not the only ones who protested. Now, I say this as someone who believes GM foods are inevitable. But that's my view. That may not be the Swadeshi Jagran Manch's view. But there are equally non-RSS groups which have opposed it as well.
That's correct.
So it's not fair to say that just the RSS is dictating the agenda or something.